Hi and welcome. I'm Liesel and I'm excited to introduce to you our self-management program. If you've ever felt pulled between work, family, and life demands, this program is for you. It's about building emotional intelligence, managing stress, and creating lasting change. What's powerful is that it's not only life-changing for participants, but also for us as facilitators. Today, you'll hear from Ilse Marie and Fatima and me on how it has shaped our journeys. Whether you're looking for personal growth or strong leadership, I invite you to lean in and listen. This might just be the shift you've been waiting for. Let's dive in.
Well, Lisa, it has reminded me that we're all human, number one. And as a leader within organizations, it has really helped me connect and relate to my teams in different ways because I've realized that if I cannot lead myself effectively, I cannot be an effective leader to my teams. So it really has changed the way that I connect and ultimately impact the bottom line of the organizations that I work for.
Raising my self-awareness has been very vital in moments of self-doubt. When I'm experiencing high levels of stress, I catch myself thinking about what is the story that I'm telling myself. Professionally, what I find it enables me to interact with people differently. I'm also very aware of my brand and how does that come across when I'm interacting with other people.
For me as a mom, it definitely has helped me manage how I interact with my children. With kids, you're all over the place and your emotions is always all over the place and they look up to you and kids do what you do, not what you say. So since I've been facilitating this program, being so self-aware of how I respond to them and how my behavior impacts them has been such a game changer. I've really focused on being more curious when they behave in certain ways instead of getting furious and responding to my emotions. So, Ilse Marie, how has developing skills like self awareness and self regulations influenced the way you manage challenges in your life?
Life is full of challenges, right? And self awareness and self management are two of the key pillars of emotional intelligence, and probably a little bit like the first steps in self management as a topic. And I cannot relate effectively to others until I can relate effectively to myself. And so, directly linked to this is dealing with challenges in my life. It has guided me to always start with me. When I face something, I ask, how have I contributed to the mess that I'm in? What have I done to participate in creating the situation? What responsibility sits at my doorstep? Because what I have done is what I can control. And then I can start influencing the other people or the situation or the challenge in my life.
What they say about the oxygen mask on a plane. You need to put on your own oxygen mask first before you start putting on oxygen masks for other people. And that assists you to enable to, once I've looked at myself and seen what are the issues here, I interact with people differently.
I think self-awareness is the key in communication, in relationships. So for me, that made a big difference is the difference between empathizing and sympathizing. In the past, I had a bad habit of sympathizing, but not really connecting with the person. Now, when I empathize, I really put myself in that person's shoes, understanding where they're coming from. And I've also learned I can't fix people. That's not my job. And that people need to, they have the ability to solve their own problems. And sometimes it's just maybe how I ask the question to help them discover how to help themselves. So in the program, we also cover habits and understanding habits, and habits shape so much of our daily lives. Ilse Marie, how did teaching others about habits and outcomes help you reflect on your own change?
James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits. And in there, he says that every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. And I think for me, habits is around every single day I am choosing the things I am doing or not doing because there is ultimately a type of person, a type of life that I want to live. And so to ask myself the question, are the things I'm doing right now contributing or taking away from this person I want to become? And so the self management and the self work that we do is so closely interlinked to the future that we want to create for ourselves. Fatima, you've shared before, you have an app that helps you track some of the new habits. And there are so many amazing ways, but it starts with the decision that I'm making every single day.
But Tima, can you share maybe one small habit you've developed through this program that has a big impact on your life?
There are two habits I'll share. One of the things that I really enjoy about James Clear's book is he talks about the cue. What is it that creates the routine around the habit? And one of the cues that I've implemented in my daily routine is I come back from work and what I put on when I come back from work. If I put on my relaxation clothes that allows me to Netflix or chill, or do I put on my gym clothes? And 99.9% of the time when I put on my gym clothes, when I get home, I go to the gym. Mostly because trying to Netflix and chill with your gym clothes on is very uncomfortable. The other habit that I find really powerful is what I call the power of three. So every day I take a moment to journal 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things I think I did really well, 3 things that are just amazing in my life, and then 3 things that I wish I did differently. Areas of opportunity, and regular reflection allows me to challenge my own thinking. It allows me to become 1% better and gives me an opportunity at the end of each year to see how I am 365 times better than I was at the beginning of the year.
So I've realized to have a good morning routine for me, I need to have a good night routine to make everything accessible, make sure, because I do my little gym routine upstairs, I set out a little place for me. So make sure that is nice and organized. I've chosen to do this routine, not just for me to become fit and healthy, but I thought internally, what is going to drive me to really do this? And it is to be able to one day when I'm 80 years old, run around with my kids, grandkids. So when I'm lazy in the mornings, I'll say to myself, okay, come on, you're not doing this just for yourself. There's a bigger picture for it. Something I do with the kids, which is a habit in the morning now, is when we drive to school, I would ask them, okay, what are you grateful for today? Just give me 2 things. Because I really feel if I start my day with gratitude, I just really have a positive attitude. In this program, we also discover that we all carry core beliefs that shape us. Fatima, how do you see these empowering participants to take control of their mindsets if we talk about our core beliefs and thoughts?
In the workshops, I find that when we having a discussion around core beliefs, it almost feels like you are switching on a light in a very dark room. Suddenly, I'm starting to ask myself questions around why do I think this way? Why do I behave this way? And what is my guiding thing? Adam Grant often says our beliefs are the things we think are true. And it holds so deeply in who I am. And the older I get, the more I realize that I become firmer and firmer in my thoughts around my beliefs. And it takes some energy and activity for me to actually start questioning my beliefs and see which ones help me and which ones hurt me. So when we talk about these things in workshops, I often find there are realizations, there are moments where people need to contemplate. And what the workshop does is it gives people tools that they can use not just for themselves, but in their lives with their partners, their friends, their organizations, their colleagues. And that tool is a lifelong tool.
Ilse Marie, can you share a time when you identified or challenged a limiting belief on your own through this process?
I started with this program actually as a delegate just over 10 years ago. And I remember sitting in the workshop, and it has blown my mind and done all these things. And we started talking about limiting beliefs. The irony, I sat there in complete disbelief because I'm like, surely my beliefs are right, like they're guiding my life. And I had to take that moment and implement some of those tools and realize that there are certain beliefs that I have that's actually holding me back. And it is taking me away from the goals that I want to achieve. And an example of one of these that I've had to do, I think, most of the work on is the idea of black and white thinking, that life is a all in or all out kind of situation. And this has shown up in everything. It shows up at work. It has shown up in my struggle to find a stable relationship in my life. And the moment I could start working through some of that and realize that life actually happens in the gray area, it doesn't happen in the extremities of the black or the white or the all in or all out. that's when breakthroughs started happening. So it really is a powerful kind of like moment in the program, that light bulb moment. And I experienced it firsthand. Just over a decade later, I realized the power of it when we're able to embrace some of these changes. And the other reality is that it is a lifelong journey. You have to continue working on this self-management.
In the workshops, when I share with the participants about the core beliefs, and I share with them that we all have our own maps, the way we think is very different from each other when it comes to our life experiences, how we grew up. And people always have this shocking look in their faces, like, but how is that? How do they not think the way I do? That was also a big eye-opener to remember when people behave a certain way or don't always agree with what you say, it's because they have different theories and different experiences and different cultural backgrounds. So therefore, our maps will be different. When you're in this workshop and you grasp that when you're interacting with other people opens your mind, and I feel that we understand each other better and we approach each other also better when it comes to having crucial conversations. Ilse Marie, if someone's listening is struggling with self-management right now, what is the first step you'd encourage them to take?
The first step, well, Liesl, I think it's sign up for the program and come dig into some of the juicy stuff, right? Maybe some advice along the way is to just not stop. Continue the journey. It is a lifelong journey, like we just learned, and it continues. You're going to continue learning and growing in this if you choose to actually become a master of your own life. So be patient with yourself.
Fatima, how do you see this program making a difference, not only for individuals, but also in the workplace or communities?
I think that the reality of the workplace at the moment, where things like burnout, stress are a big part of our daily routine, it's imperative that I spend some time recharging myself. So we are quite diligent about recharging our cell phones. Every night, most of us go home and make sure that our laptops and our cell phones and our watches and all this beautiful equipment we've bought for ourselves is fully charged on 100%. My question is, when you're recharging your devices, what are you doing today to recharge yourself? And a program like this is one of those opportunities to plug in and recharge yourself and give yourself that opportunity to fill your own tank, because nobody can fill from an empty tank. So take this opportunity and the various other opportunities that exist out there in podcasts, in programs like this, to help you to grow and develop, because every single time you lay down a new neural pathway, every single time you learn something new, you are growing your big, beautiful brain, and nothing is more awesome than that.
This is all we have time for today. To our listeners, if you're ready to start your journey toward balance, clarity, and success, click the link below to book your spot today.